and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Man, it is a beautiful Tuesday morning. Just beautiful. We got, you could even call them storms. I don't know that the winds were all that high, but lots of thunder and lightning and decent amount of wind too. Yesterday, been watering the grass for a couple days already, kind of non-stop, like a slow mist that I move around the yard to just sort of keep everything wet enough for this springtime warmth to kind of grab that grass and really kick it into action. And it's a good thing I did because, you know, if you get these heavy rains in Arizona, if you get the heavy rain on the dry ground, it'll all wash away. Literally the ground will be, it's hydrophobic. It will not take the water in. The water won't even be able to make the dirt into mud. It'll just roll off. So my yard was already soaked, which means all of this rain we just got last night, the last part of yesterday and most of the night, is now soaking into the dirt in my backyard. So that's going to be great because I'm a big fan of grass. Edward Pickin, good morning. Good to see you, sir. Beautiful morning here. Beautiful. I know it's going to be hot soon, but man, I'll be damned if I'm not getting a really nice spring. So, really exciting news. I had a meeting with Replit. Replit, by the way, is the software. It's the app slash software, whatever you want to call it, that I use to build software. It's the one that you can talk to with natural language and it'll build software for you. So I had a meeting with them about a month ago that I thought went well. And then I was, I would use the word ghosted, essentially. They did ask me to send them some information about like my YouTube channel and my viewership and all of that. And I did all of that. In fact, I made an entire media kit for them on my website using Replit to build the media kit, funny enough. And then just didn't hear back from them, but I was persistent and I just kept bugging them and bugging them and bugging them and bugging them and bugging them until finally the lady that I thought had been interested in me somehow partnering with Replit, she finally, after me bugging her enough, last email I sent was Friday or Saturday, I think. And I went and checked this morning just on a hunch because it's one of the only email addresses I have that isn't set up to give me alerts. Went and checked and I got a new email from a different person at Replit who said, hey, Sajud sent me your last email and asked me to set up a meeting with you to like see where we can align. And they're going to give me some free credits so I can build some more because I've already spent $1,000 on credits with Replit just in the last 30 days building everything I'm building. So that'll be cool. But I'm excited because y'all know how much I like Replit. It's kind of all I talk about is all the stuff I'm building, including Bulletproof Handyman.com. So if I can form a partnership with them, I would really like to. That'd be amazing, I think. I like partnering with companies that I actually use and that I actually enjoy using and that I actually recommend to others. And Replit definitely falls into that category. What else? Sent off my first official Scout, which I built in Replit, by the way. Sent off my first official Scout move out inspection / estimate creation software package in product. Sent that off to the property manager, went and did the inspection with the app. It worked. Still so many bugs, man. I still got a lot of debugging to do, which would be nice if Replit gives me those credits because I can use a lot of those credits to keep debugging. But I did send out the first official final product from Scout to a live real world property manager, my biggest property manager, in fact. So she didn't say much about as far as the actual final form, you know, she didn't say, oh my God, Ray, this looks great. And she didn't say, oh my God, Ray, this looks horrible. She was more concerned with how much money I charged and what she was getting in exchange for it, which is pretty typical. Her answer was basically something like, hey, I saw the invoice for the $150 for the inspection. Maybe I was wrong, but I kind of thought that for a price like that, I would get a little bit of work done out of it while you're there, like maybe the smoke detector batteries and cleaning the dryer vent. And I'm like, well, I mean, in the normal real world of running my business, I would charge $150 just to go somewhere and change smoke detector batteries. And I would charge $150 just to go somewhere and clean out the dryer vent. And I would probably charge, well, not probably, I would definitely charge more than $200, maybe right at $200, but probably more than $200 to clean out the dryer vent and change the smoke detector batteries. So why on earth would I do both of those things for $150 instead of $200 and take all the extra time to give you a free inspection and itemized firm estimate, firm being a key word here on top of that. So she approved a bunch of work on it. She did, you know, she used the jobber estimate the right way with the optional line items where she was, luckily I didn't have to, a lot of times I have to teach property managers how to use that, which blows my mind because I've been on the consumer end of it. I've literally sent one to myself as a client just to see what the client experiences. And it's absurdly clear how to, you know, approve or reject individual line items. But luckily I didn't have to teach her. She didn't need any hand holding on it. She went in there, she used it, she figured it out, she accepted the items that she wanted to accept, she rejected the others, approved the estimate, so that did ultimately save me a lot of time. I mean, obviously this first one didn't. This first one took me weeks and weeks and weeks of building a new app and fine-tuning it, but the actual final product, putting together that final product, was a quick and efficient process that wouldn't have been otherwise. So first one down. Still a ways to go, I think, before I can submit it to Jobber as an official Jobber integration. I've essentially tested it all the way through on the quote side. I have not done it on the job side. And there's one unknown on the quote side because something about the way I've built it seems to have this cutoff at 50 line items. You're not limited to 50. I'm just saying on my end, it feels like it had some cutoff at about 50 line items. And then once you hit those 50, it felt like to me, I wasn't getting, because this was like 62 total. So it felt like I wasn't getting the extra 12. And just like personally, in my own personal business, I had reached to the point where I was like, okay, well, I don't have any more time. I have to send this to the property manager, so I'm going to manually input those 12. And I did, and I saved. And then I backed out of it, and then I came back into it. And all of a sudden, those other 12 were there. So now it was the 12 I made plus another 12. And I went and deleted the ones that I made. So I'm not sure why that happened. I need to figure out why those extra 12 were sort of like held back and then added after I had already entered it. It may just be that it took time for them to get populated and I clicked into it too early. I don't know for sure. So I got to figure that out. I got to figure out if it works on the jobs. So now I know it works on quotes for the most part. Got to figure out if it works on jobs. What else? I want to fine tune some stuff. You know, I tried to give it a very basic ability to suggest, like truly to lightly suggest some pricing and some materials and some tools and stuff. But because I didn't put tons of effort into that, and I didn't spend a day really fine-tuning that prompt, I don't like the pricing and materials and tools and whatnot that it's giving. And I don't want to publish this thing like publicly and have it still be in the condition where it's giving like kind of not good prices. They're not horrible, but I mean, I can tell the difference between the other project estimator that I built and this tool, and just the accuracy is not there, and I don't know that I want to put another day into working that out, especially given that I could break other things by doing that. So we'll see. What I will be doing very soon, though, is I think what I will do very soon is remove the button for y'all to click to integrate Jobber. Because right now, since it's only a demo, that button is there. So if anybody got access to it, they could see that button and they could try to connect their Jobber account, which is what I want my beta testers doing. But for everybody else, I want to make this entire app more widely available, because the PDF output is really the product. I mean, that's what it was all about in the beginning, was just this beautiful output where you can just do a video inspection and receive this beautiful output, right? In a PDF form without Jobber in the mix. So probably going to remove the connect Jobber button, except for my very few beta testers, and then release the app for everybody to use pretty widely, just in the PDF form. And I think that'll be good for now. So expect that soon. Y'all will be able, if you need to do an inspection, it doesn't even have to be an inspection. It can also just be, you're going to somebody's house, you're going to a client's house, they have quote unquote a few things for you to look at. Well, you can do those few things. You can look at them with this app and record them and have just a nice log and a nice printout of everything you looked at and what the plans are for those things, if that makes sense. So that's the plan with that. I do have, I do have new custom line items for y'all. In fact, Edward, I don't know if you want to take a look at mine. I know you've already probably used a bunch of mine, and you've probably built 3 times as many of them for yourself. But I do have some new custom line items for you guys, 800 and something of them. It's the same 800 and something line item list that you could get before, and it had no descriptions and no pricing. And once again, I used AI very heavily. I also randomly audited the results to make sure I was mostly happy with them. The goal is never, by the way, nothing I ever make for you guys, it is never, ever, ever the goal that you're just gonna copy and paste whatever I'm doing straight into your business. The goal is always that you're responsible for your own stuff, and I'm just giving you a really good starting place. But this new 800 and something line items, they now have descriptions. I did spend way more than one entire day, a lot more than a full day, actually putting these together and fine-tuning how we're using the AI to come up with them, fine-tuning what information does and does not get included, literally what type of wording we're using, because you can use past tense, present tense, no tense. So very highly specialized. I think if you use them, it'll make your company sound and appear very much professional and on top of its game. So you can check those out. In fact, if you want those, there's only one way to get it at the moment. Bulletproofhandyman.com, click on the tools tab, enter the rate book, and inside the rate book, you're gonna see a button that says something like download Ray's line items or sync with Ray's line items, something like that. You'll see the button, and that will populate your entire rate book account with all of my line items. So if you want to do that. I'll also just make it available as a straight download where you can just literally download it directly from the documents folder and then go upload it into your Jobber account. So that's coming out soon. And by the way, I'm integrating that into my actual handyman business. Like, maybe not today, well, definitely not today, not tomorrow, may not be this week, but within, like, we'll put it this way, it's early March right now. By the end of March, I think, I will probably have that entire 800 and something line item piece uploaded into my Jobber account, and I will actually be using those line items from now on with my clients. And I'll be tweaking them and fine-tuning them for myself as well. So look for that. What else? So many things going on. We have the Texas Bunkhouse Retreat. It's going to be Bonham State Park, just northeast of Dallas, April 16th through 19th. That is a free 4-day retreat. I'm providing lodging and meals, so it doesn't cost you anything. All you have to do is choose to show up and then just show up. You can get signed up for that at bulletproofhandyman.com on the events tab. It's also on the homepage of the website. But that is April 16th through 19th, 4 days, bunkhouse style sleeping. So we've got 3 buildings with 20 bunks each for dudes and 1 building with 20 bunks for women. If we need to rearrange some of that, of course, we'll rearrange some of that. We'll see, but it's free, right? I mean, it's not free. Ergo Next Insurance paid for it. Previously, the artist formerly known as Next Insurance, which is now Ergo Next Insurance. They've paid for it. This is like the 4th or 5th one of these events that they've paid for. They like to support the community. So, as I mention constantly, and I will never stop mentioning, because I am grateful for their support, the way you can thank them for this event and for all the future events that they're going to sponsor, and the way you can promote them to keep doing this, so I can do one in California and one in the Pacific Northwest and one up in Virginia or DC or something. The way that you can keep this rolling, right, and support this entire project is to go just use my link in the description and get a free estimate, a free quote from Ergo Next Insurance. That's all you got to do. I'm not even saying buy it, right? If you already have insurance, go get a quote and see if it beats yours. If it doesn't, don't buy it. If it does, buy it. If you don't have insurance yet, go get a quote. That way you'll know what it costs. And if it's time, buy it. And if it's not, don't. But that's how we thank them. And then I also have, now you won't find this listed on the website just yet, but I also have Quo, Q-U-O, formerly Open Phone. They have already, oh God, I need to sign the contract. Oh my God. They must think I'm such a non-professional right now. I've had this contract in my inbox for a week, and they've even reminded me once, and I've just forgotten to sign it. So Quo has agreed and already built the contract out and everything to sponsor the next Handyman Camping Convention, which is going to be in the Rocky Mountains in June, probably around mid-June. Could be late June, I don't know. But it's going to be in June, almost certainly. They've already committed to that. So same deal. I don't know the venue yet. I haven't picked a venue, so I don't know if this will be 60 people or 30 people or 20 people. But they have committed to the next one. So similar to Next Insurance, if you want to thank them for making all these events possible so that you, and even if you don't need it, so that other guys who do need it continue to get the opportunity to show up at these events and get all the value that we get out of them. If you want that to continue, also go click on that link for Quo, Q-U-O, formerly Open Phone. They are a VoIP business phone, so it's an app on your phone. You put it on your cell phone as an app, and it's a VoIP business phone, and they take care of all the federal registration. I mean, you still have to click buttons for it, but what I'm saying is they guide you through that process and make it really easy. so that you can actually text your clients from your business phone. So same thing with them. Very gracious of them. They don't get an ROI on this. You know, the amount of money that these things cost compared to the number of clicks they get, they can just go put that money into Google Ads and actually get new customers instead of putting it into us. And maybe they get 2 or 3 or 4 new customers. So we just want to let them know we appreciate it, because they're not like making money off of this. Hey, Scott. Scott said, for the 12-item disparity, don't discount API limitations or the fact that you might have found an API bug if you can talk with a technical rep at Jobber. Yeah, that occurred to me. Well, and that occurred to my AI. More accurately, that didn't occur to me. That occurred to my AI. It was one of the suggestions from my AI about why it happened. I'm not going to reach out to Jobber because I want this to become a Jobber integration, and I want that to happen without the, you know, I personally know the engineers at Jobber now. Not all of them, of course, but I know the head product guy, and I know by head product guy, you know, Jobber's product is the app. So I know the guy literally in charge of the actual like back end and front end actual Jobber web app. And then also Bob, or Robert, is, I don't know that he's the lead engineer, but it feels like he's like the lead engineer. He's got his fingers in everything. He's generally in charge of most of the bigger projects that I'm obsessed with. I know them personally, and I don't want special treatment. I don't want my app to get approved and then wonder if it's only because, you know, I had somebody holding my hand at Jobber. So I don't intend on letting Jobber know that I'm building this until after it's approved. Now, I mean, if they, you know, if somebody reads the application, they might see buried in there somewhere, you know, my name, like the name of the person who's submitting it. They could see my name and go, Ray Duke, oh, interesting. That's the same name as that other guy. Or they might not, I don't know. But all I know is I'm not gonna reach out because I wanna be able to tell myself when this is all done, if I do end up getting an app published as a Jobber integration, if I do pull that feed off, I wanna know that I did that, and that wasn't just because they like me and they helped me out and they gave me the right tips and tricks to get it published. I want that to be an accomplishment, you know, that I can put a notch on my belt for, if that makes sense. Grasshopper, good morning. Good to see you. I'm really tired as always. I don't know why I'm always so damn tired. I mean, I guess I do. It's because I'm working too hard. I'm always working too hard and sleeping too little, staying up too late, getting up too early. But man, well, and it's also because I'm just overweight, still overweight. Partly why I'm doing these hikes, but I'm not stupid. Walking 6 miles a day is not gonna magically fix this problem. It's gonna be mostly diet that fixes this. What is that? Mostly diet, I know. Getting there slowly, I guess, but man, it sure is weird being a smoker, 2-pack a day smoker for, you know, 25 years. Well, more than that, actually, about 30 years. I was at about 3 decades when I quit. But it is a little weird being a 2-pack a day smoker and being like 165 to maybe 175 pounds for basically all of your life. Yeah, 155, you know, minimum, but usually 165, 175 pounds. 180 was when I was getting a little belly on me. 185 to me was fat before for me. You know, I'm not tall. I'm like 193 now. Yeah, I was, I think, verging on 200. I think I probably tipped 200 without weighing myself at the peak of my weight. Again, I'm not saying whatever you weigh, you know, your body is your body, mine is mine. You can be healthy at different weights. And I don't mean that to say that you don't need to worry about your weight either, but I guess all I'm saying is I'm not trying to say anything about what weight anybody else should be at, but I know my healthy weight, where my body feels good and works good, is that 165 to 175 pound range. And even though I quit smoking, yes, I do feel healthier in many ways, but putting on that 25 pounds, that 20 or 25 pounds, it does make a difference. It does for me, and just in terms of the way I feel, the way my metabolism works, how much energy I do or don't have. That extra 20 pounds makes a difference. But that's on me. I'll get it gone. I'm working on it piece by piece. At the very least, I've put a complete halt on gaining new weight. Ride Red said, "Good morning, Ray. Do you ever share your handyman business name?" No, I don't. Like everything else, by the way, and this isn't you, right? I'm not talking to you specifically. I'll make a general announcement here. Don't be fucking creepy and try to figure shit out about me. Like, if you really want to know stuff about me for some reason, if you want to, just come to Tucson and have lunch with me, right? Just come here and say, "Hey man, I'm coming to Tucson next Wednesday. Could we have lunch maybe?" I'll just have lunch with you. I'm all about community. You know, I'm a fan of you guys. I'm a fan of everyone on this channel who's trying to do something different with their life. So just, you know, again, not you specifically, just making that general announcement because it's kind of been a thing I've had to do stuff about lately. So just don't be creepy. Don't be trying to like figure out where I live and drive past my house all slow checking it out. If you want to know me, just fucking shoot me an email, you know, and we'll get to know each other. It's that easy. But no, my actual handyman business name is not something I share publicly. Now, I have accidentally shared it many times, which is why I say don't be creepy, because, you know, yeah, you can go really do a hard job of searching through all my past content like some kind of detective and sleuth together my personal life, but I'd really rather you not. I'd rather you just get to know me as a person, openly and forwardly, instead of in some weird, sneaky, creepy way. So, again, not directed at you, it's just your comment caused me to remember that I need to say that every now and then on this channel. I'll just have lunch with you guys, you know. Paul's Handyman said, "Morning, good morning." And by the way, the reason I don't share my business name publicly on this channel is because although, you know, I would say overwhelmingly 99% of my interactions with all of y'all are extremely positive, there's always the 1% that just, you know, they just hate me. It's licensed contractors or licensed, it's oftentimes guys who got a license for some particular skill. And even though I don't do anything that I'm not legal to do, and even though I'm constantly telling you guys to never do anything that you're not legal to do, the licensed people still hate it, that anybody out there without a license is making six figures. They want there to be a cutoff so that if they get a license, they should make six figures. And if you didn't get a license, if you didn't join the same racket and pay the same protection money to the same licensing cartel, if you don't do that, they don't want you to make six figures. They're jealous because a lot of them are making like 70 a year while you're making 150 a year. And they get angry, and the first thing they want to do is come into my email or into my comments and start fights about stuff like that. And if my actual business name is too easy to get, like publicly, if it's just kind of out there and everybody knows what it is and it's too easy to know, then I have to worry about them causing trouble for my business by just calling and harassing my clients and stuff. Because once you can figure out my business name, you can start figuring out a lot. And I don't need, you know, my handyman business is my handyman business. It's not part of this channel. The fact that I have one and know what to do with it is part of this channel. But the details of my personal handyman business and my clients, like their names and my business's name and things like that, that's not for me, that's off limits. Because that's something that, you know, YouTube can shut me down tomorrow. YouTube can just decide that they don't like the Pledge of Allegiance at the beginning of live streams because a new president gets elected in a few years, and they can just shut me down for anything they want to. And my entire YouTube livelihood is gone. So that handyman business has to remain. Yeah, I could shut it down today and focus solely on helping you guys get yours up and running. And I think I could even do more good for the world and for my community doing that than I could doing anything else. But that's not an option for me. I have to remain, my handyman business must remain viable and profitable. And it has to be ready for me to take over, you know. Like, right, I guess I own it, right? I run it, so I don't need to take it over. It needs to be ready for me to step back into the role of actual handyman on the road every day with tools in my hands, banging out work, right? That needs to be a viable option for me literally starting tomorrow. So that's why I don't give out my actual business name. That's a lever that other people could yank on that I don't want them yanking on. Paul's Handyman, good morning. Tim Schlabach, good to see you too. Good to see you too. I don't remember. Let me see what's dinging real quick, first of all. Okay. Now, I don't remember if I told you, because I know I did tell y'all at the beginning of this stream that Replit reached out and wants to have a meeting again. So that's amazing because I love those guys. I want to get partnered with them really bad. I want to be, for me, the ideal scenario for monetizing this channel is that companies whose products and services I'm already using and already love and I'm already promoting without any affiliation, that those companies find me and then try to way to incentivize me financially to continue to integrate them into the channel. You know, that's what happened with Jobber. I was a Jobber user. I was a Jobber fan. I was telling y'all to use Jobber before Jobber ever reached out. Before I even thought I was big enough for anybody like Jobber to reach out. Same thing with Next Insurance. I had Next Insurance way before I partnered with Next Insurance. I used Wix to create my website. Not the current one, I used Replit for the current one. But the one I had before I found Replit, I used Wix to create, and then I partnered with Wix. So now I've been building with Replit and bragging about it and showing y'all everything I've built exclusively on Replit for, well, forever. So it's gonna be awesome if Replit wants to somehow, you know, give me an affiliate link and let me make some commissions off of supporting something that I've already been supporting. That's the ideal situation for me. But what I don't know if I told y'all is I do have a meeting with them, and it's this morning. Like, I checked the email, found the email this morning. It had a link to set up a meeting, clicked on the link, and the available meeting times included today. So I should get home from this hike around 8:30. And when I get home from this hike around 8:30, I've got 2 hours before my meeting. So I've got 2 hours to kind of maybe prep a few slides, which I'll use AI to do, of course. But I'll prep a few slides and have a, I don't know, like a little pitch ready and just be like, hey, here's who I am. Because this is a new guy that doesn't know me. So I need to be able, in the course of 30 minutes, to say, you know, here's who I am. I quit my job at Bombardier working on business jets 5.5 years ago. Started my handyman business 5.5 years ago. Started my YouTube channel 3 years ago. Grew it to whatever subscriber base I have. This is the stuff I'm doing right now. This is how I'm using your product. This is how I'm doing business with my other sponsors. And this is what I would like to do with you guys. I need to put all of that together in a couple hours, which won't be hard. But I'm excited because I have that meeting coming today. Paul's Handyman said, to be real honest, I thought the Bulletproof Handyman was your actual business name. A lot of people think that, yeah. A lot of people do think that. And I do have a business called Bulletproof Handyman, but it's not my handyman business. It's just my business. Well, hello, good morning. Here he goes. Every morning, this is how he gets to come out here and take his walk and go poop. Pretty much every day they pass me. Where was I at? I was just saying something too. Oh yeah, no, I do have a business called Bulletproof Handyman. I literally formed the LLC separately, and by the way, with Northwest Registered Agent, which is also who I formed my wife's, Emily's, tattoo business LLC with. Again, because if I'm promoting a brand, I want it to be a brand that I actually use and trust and know and understand. So, but yeah, there is a Bulletproof Handyman LLC. There is a Bulletproof Handyman business, but that business is this YouTube channel and the website and the masterclass and, you know, the Handyman Business Startup Accelerator program, essentially. That is all own business. Ride Red said, understandable. I'm trying to do the same with separating my business from me. Right on. That's good. Oh, man. I think I've gotten pretty good at slowing down. Oh, what's going on here? Well, that was weird. Did I just disappear for you guys? Because I just disappeared on my own screen. I don't know what that was about. What are these buttons for? Okay, interesting. Oh, I got a call from my neighbor, which is sometimes important. Let me answer that. Don't go away. My goodness. All right, it says I'm live. I don't see myself on the screen, though. Where'd I go? Can y'all see me? I swear. I don't see me. Do y'all see me? Somebody throw in a chat if you can even see me. It seems like when I exit a live stream and come back into it, it used to just work and it'd pick back up, but lately it doesn't. Because I've just got a dark screen. Okay, y'all can see me. I just can't see myself. What happens if I change cameras here? I don't even know which way the camera's pointing now. Whatever, it doesn't matter, I guess. As long as y'all can see me. I'm sorry I was gone so long. That was one of my neighbors across the street. And my neighbor to the west of me has been on hospice for a little while. And I guess she finally passed away last night. So that was him calling to tell me that news. So, you know, I didn't want to cut that phone call short for sure, but looks like my neighbor has finally passed. I only say finally because she's just, you know, she's very old and she's not in great health, and it was more of a waiting game. So now she's out of pain, and her kids were all there, kids and nieces and like all kinds of family was there. As she was passing, so she got to pass surrounded by people she loves. But that's why I had to leave for that phone call. Let's see. Hopper said, I'm gonna guess your business name for fun, Roughneck Ray and his Renegades. No, it's about, you know, I'm always telling y'all that your business name doesn't matter. My business name is a perfect example of how your business name doesn't matter. I'll tell you this, my first handyman business name, before I went the LLC route, when I very first started out, literally my business name was Ray Duke Handyman. Just those 3 words, Ray Duke Handyman. If you kick ass, now don't get me wrong, you know, a good business name can get you some additional business, but your business name is not what dictates the success of your business. Your business name can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've said it a million times. Your business name can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Handyman. And you're gonna succeed if you're a really great business owner and a really great handyman. You need to do both, and they're not the same thing, but your business name, yes, it can be helpful. You know, you might get a couple extra calls and a couple extra jobs just because your business name was a great name. But that's not how you build a business. You don't build your business by having a great business name. Look at Zillow, great example. Zillow doesn't mean anything, right? It's not It's not catchy. It's not memorable. The first time you ever heard the word Zillow, if somebody at the park would have said, oh yeah, there's this new website called Zillow where you can search for houses. If somebody would have said that, you would not have remembered it by the time you drove home if you didn't write it down. And yet they're a household name now, not because they had the best name, but because they ran the best business. But mine is, I promise you, very, very generic and boring. And it's intended to be such. I don't want my clients to feel like they know me as a person. I want to be a black hole that they throw jobs into, and then out from that black hole pops invoices. And and those jobs, they're not even jobs. They're throwing problems in. They just want to take a problem, which is a leaky toilet, and go, I don't fucking like this. They throw it into the hole, and then out from the hole pops an invoice, and the leaky toilet problem's gone. That's who I want to be. No face, no personality, just a really reliable black hole that gets work done. That's what I want to be. Grasshopper said I'm frozen. Am I frozen? Is my video frozen? Scott said he named it Duke and Duke after the financial company in the movie Trading Places. Ray's real name is Mortimer. Yeah. So, yeah, more than anything, I guess, on my mind this morning is Replit. And by the way, this is a good example of persistence, and this is by far not the first time that persistence has paid off for me. And I'm talking about, this started back in like high school. I started learning the value of persistence, just the simple value of, and you might even think of it like, I would listen to these old men at the VA when I was in ROTC. We did a lot of time volunteering at the VA. Would listen to these old men, talk about how they met their wife, and the way they met their wife was always the same. They were in some small town in the middle of nowhere. There weren't a lot of options to begin with, and she was the prettiest one, and he went after her, and he asked her out over and over and over, and he got her flowers, and he asked her out again, and she said no. She asked him to stop asking, and he said, nope, I'm too persistent to stop asking. And he just kept persistently asking until finally one day she relented. And now they've been married 50 years and they lived happily ever after. So, that's probably the early stages of me learning the value of persistence. But I've done it with just about everything in my life. By the way, we did make it all the way up to the road. So, some good examples are Next Insurance. Actually, when I first partnered with Next Insurance, they had these marketing departments, they have a budget, and they need to spend the budget. The budget is just for marketing. It's for whatever. You can put it into a lot of things. They've got a budget within the budget that says we want to spend this much on like influencer marketing. And I would get these emails that said, hey, we have a little bit of budget left over for Q3. Do you have any ideas? If you want to pitch some ideas to us on ways we could spend that budget on you, let us know and we'll consider it. And every time I would email back and I would say, hey, I don't really have any small ideas, but I do have the idea that you make me an ambassador, not just an affiliate, but an official ambassador. And an ambassador means instead of just paying commissions, you actually pay me like a set monthly salary, paycheck, fee, whatever you want to call it. You pay a set amount per month, and you get from that exclusivity. It doesn't mean that I won't talk about other insurance brands. It just means I won't provide a link and tell my audience to go check them out. I'm only going to provide a link and tell my audience to check you out, while retaining the freedom to tell everybody still, I think you should get 3 quotes. I firmly believe you shouldn't get 5 or 6. That will ping the system, kind of like when you start looking for airline tickets and all of a sudden the price of those tickets start going up because they can see you searching. But I do think you should get more. Anyways, I was persistent. Every single time they reached out, saying, hey, do you have anything additional to pitch? I would say, not really, other than ambassadorship. I really want to be an ambassador. You're who I have my insurance through and my company. I actually think you're a great choice, and I want to be an ambassador. And it was like, I don't know, the 6th time that I sent that email that all of a sudden they finally said yes. And that happens a lot with me. There's a lot of times where I'm just persistent over time. And Replit is a great example of that, because I tried and I tried and I tried, and it felt like I was failing the whole time. Nobody was getting back with me. And I desperately want to be, no, don't get me wrong. I don't anticipate Replit making me an ambassador. I'm not even brand safe. I've already said the F word like 3 times, in this live stream. And I'm aware of that, right? I'm okay with the fact that, got a truck coming. I'm okay with the fact that me being authentically me, honestly and openly being authentically me, with my politics, my religion, my cursing, whoever it is and whatever it is that I am, I'm okay with the fact that some brands aren't going to want to work with me because they want a more generic sort of brand safe solution. What's this guy doing? But despite the lack of probable ambassador status, I'm very excited to be an affiliate, because I'm already telling y'all how amazing their product is. So might as well get paid for it. Might as well get some recognition for it. And you never know, I could get them if they've got the budget, which they damn well should have the budget. I should be able to get them to sponsor one of these campouts eventually too. And then that's another service I get to provide to you guys through them. So I'm excited because I love building with Replit, and I would love to actually get paid to say that, since I'm saying it already anyways. Hey, Kenai Rock Band has been a little bit. Said, I've been at it 2 years and taken much advice from this channel. It's so far a successful venture for me. Last week I had my first asshole client. That sucks. You can tell us about it if you want. Grasshopper said, at Kenai Rock Band, cool on your success, not the asshole client. And Comedy Villain said, what the fuck are we doing? We don't know what we're doing. We're walking and talking. We're hanging out. We're walking and talking. Man, all of this rain is so good for the flowers. Look at these beautiful flowers here. This is a new one I've never seen until this year. And I'm sure it's because I just haven't been looking hard enough, but really beautiful. And then you got this guy too, which I also haven't seen until this year. But again, I think it's because I'm looking more now. Kenai said, thank you. I owe my success in large part to Ray's advice. I followed his business model and it's really working out. That's so cool, man. I love that. Kenai said, I pop in here once in a while when I can. Thanks, Ray. Yes, sir. You're very welcome. You're welcome for the help. You're welcome to always pop in anytime you want to. I love seeing you around here. I actually do remember the first time I met you was during a live stream, because I don't remember how I pronounced your name, but I didn't realize that it was the Kenai Peninsula in Alaska, which is weird because I know of the Kenai Peninsula because I'm a fan of wilderness and freedom and liberty and pine trees and grizzly bears and homesteading and log cabins and all of that good stuff that y'all have going on up there. So I knew the Kenai Peninsula, but I didn't read your name as Kenai Rock Band. I think I read it as Ken Air Rock Band or something like that. But yeah, I remember the first time I met you. It's been about 2 years, I guess. Pretty close to 2 years. And Hecklis said, are you sure you're not retired out bird watching, smelling the flowers? I wish I was. I do wish I was. I'll tell y'all something. I love doing these hikes with you. Look, there's another one. These have not been blooming until just now. Like, this is the first of this instance of this particular plant that I've seen this year. I've seen plenty of them in prior years, but This rain's gonna be real good. Anyways, shit, what was I saying? What was I saying? I'm taking more. Oh yeah, no, you know, as much as I do, and I really do love live streaming with you guys on these morning hikes, this is also work for me. It is, you know, if my goal is to build and maintain a strong online community, if that's my goal, this is part of it. And it's not that I don't want to talk to y'all. I absolutely do enjoy talking to you quite a bit. And I enjoy these live streams. Why do we have purple embedded in this rock? It's a different purple too. It's not like the manganese. I know y'all won't be able to see the purple almost certainly, but there's a little dot of purple there. And yeah, look, there's a little dot there. There's a little dot there. Let's break this thing open. Let me see what's going on in here. And it feels like I can break it. It feels like conglomerate. Oh, there we go. We got green. This feels like it's got some interesting stuff going on. Huh. Very cool. But yeah, you know, if the goal is to build this into a strong online community where we're all here for each other, supporting each other as husbands and fathers, founders and fathers, business owners, if that's the goal, then yeah, me streaming every one of these hikes is part of achieving that goal. It's part of the bigger overall mission. And it is work, although it's work that I love doing, which is really all of this channel is work that I love doing. If you're gonna have to do something for a living, it's pretty cool if it can be something you love. But at the same time, you know, I literally don't have time for Joe Rogan anymore. And I never thought there would be a time in my life when I would be so busy that literally just simply getting to listen to a full Joe Rogan podcast beginning to end is impossible. I used to do that at every live stream. Like every single live stream I would do that at. Or not live stream, sorry, my move outs. Before I had a YouTube channel, before I streamed my move outs and streamed my hikes and streamed all kinds of stuff, I would be going to my move outs, which is like half of the work that I did, vacant properties, and just putting on my music and singing. Man, I will sing until my throat doesn't work anymore at the top of my lungs on a move out. I will sing, I will listen to podcasts, and I gave a little bit of that up, but in return I got you guys, and I got my brands, and I got, you know, the Texas bunkhouse retreat where I'm gonna get to meet like 60 of y'all, and I've got the one in Colorado coming up in a few months. So it's been a fair trade-off. And you know what, if you're gonna be here on this earth anyways, go ahead and do something cool while you're at it, you know? Do something a little bit unusual, something a little bit new, something a little bit scary. Go out there and don't just risk failing. Go out there and fail. Just fucking fail, man. There's nothing wrong with failing. And if somebody tells you it's not a failure because you learned from it, it's a failure. It's okay. It's just, you don't have to find a way to turn a failure into a non-failure. It's okay to say, hey, I set out with this particular goal, and success or failure can be measured by whether I achieved that goal. And it turns out I did not achieve it, therefore I failed. And then you can turn that failure into something positive by learning from it. But it is okay to fail. It really is. I failed at a lot of stuff. I'm failing at a few things right now, and I know I am, and that's just, I have a limited amount of time in the day. I'm not going to stop trying, but that also means that I will be failing along the way with you. So it's all right. Heckler said, good way to start the day. This is the best way to start the day. Getting some sunlight in your eyes and on your skin and breathing in the fresh air. It's probably in the 50s right now, temperature-wise, so I'm getting cold air over my body, you know, which is kicking my metabolism in. This is the best way to start the day. And I start every day like this. I stream when Silas is not here, my 10-year-old. When he's off with his biological father, I do this 6-mile hike and I stream it. But when he's at home with us, we have a 50-50, you know, parenting schedule. So when he's home with us, then I hike with him. It's 2 miles instead of 6. But when he's home with us, I hike with him as well, and we do our miles. So I start every day, most of the time before the sun is up, actually. I'm usually heading out while it's still dark. I wake up naturally at about 5. Like I can pretty much tell you what time it is because I woke up. I wake up and my brain goes, well, it must be 5 because I'm awake again, and I don't even necessarily want to be up at 5. I wish my brain would accidentally make me oversleep so I could have an excuse to get a little extra sleep, but so far it doesn't. I'm just up at 5 every day, and it's a great way to start the day. Kenai Rock Band said, I was in a different area and planning to move to Kenai, and I have and working pretty steadily with a top property management company. Oh, and you did, okay, and you're working pretty steadily with the top property management company in the area. Awesome. Sam said, take my horse. I'd love to, man. I'd love a horse. Grasshopper said, the last Joe Rogan podcast I listened to was the interview of Jensen Huang with NVIDIA. Pretty good. Was that recent? Did he interview him again? Because I listened to one months and months and months ago. Jensen Huang is like a hero of mine. I wouldn't quite say I worship him, but man, that dude also was persistent and tenacious. He had a vision for how computing could be done in a different way. He wasn't the only person in the world, you know, to have some of the ideas that he had, but he had the idea that it could be done in a different way, and he pushed relentlessly towards that idea for a very long time, way over a decade, before he really started seeing what most people would call like any kind of true success. That's persistence right there, and that's the payoff that he got, is the success that he's earned today. And now he builds, not with his own 2 hands, of course, he's CEO, but now he builds the tools that I use, and I literally could not do what I do without his tools. Replit wouldn't exist without his tools. ChatGPT would not exist if Jensen didn't build what he built. This entire AI revolution, yes, would have happened someday, but this AI revolution, the one that did happen, happened because of ChatGPT. Nobody else, this is the truth. And people try to claim otherwise, and it annoys me. You know, Google with DeepMind was doing a thing, and it was a great thing. Probably could have, would have led somewhere someday, and well, definitely did lead somewhere, oftentimes. But this AI thing that just blew up in the last few years, this was kicked off because ChatGPT built something new and different. And do you know what they built it on? They built it on a DGX-1. They built it on essentially the first. Now, maybe, I'm sure they probably had a couple prototypes before this one, but the first official DGX-1 delivery was to Elon Musk and Sam Altman at OpenAI when they were a teeny tiny brand new startup that Elon was funding. And that's what they used to build, oh, what did they call it? Like GPT 2 point something, whatever the first GPT was. That wasn't anything that would have impressed most people. It did impress me even back then. One of the first things it did as a purely next word prediction machine, way before ChatGPT became a thing, like a year and a half, 2 years prior, I had read an article where they fed in, because what you did back then was you just typed something in and it would just continue. So you could type in, well, this is what they did. The article I read, they typed in something like, you know, world-renowned scientist group discovers ancient, lost, thought to be extinct unicorn species on deserted tropical island. And then it took over and it wrote like this huge, it's not huge, but like this, 4, 5, 6 page hypothetically scientific article And the scientific article like detailed all these details about the scientists and their discoveries. It named them, it gave fake references and stuff. And it was just like, holy shit. But that was built on a DGX-1. Essentially what I have on my desktop now, my little DGX Spark, is basically the same compute as that original DGX-1 that the very first ChatGPT was built on. So Jensen Huang is like, none of this would have existed if he, as a scrappy young man, didn't believe in himself. And again, yes, I'm gonna provide all the stupid caveats. Yeah, other people were doing other things with AI. Much of it was successful, but this specific large language model, next word prediction revolution that happened. It also happened because of transformers. Transformers, if they had not become a thing, we couldn't and wouldn't have built what we built without transformers. So there was a lot of parts and pieces, but if there's a recent Jensen Huang interview, I definitely want to see it. I'll take the time to watch that. Kenai said, time to make the donuts. Have a great week and stay safe. I love that phrase. By the way, I use that phrase, time to make the donuts. Emily knows it too. When I was heading out that door every morning at like 6 or 6:30 to head out to do 12 hours of handyman work all over the city of Tucson, when I was breaking myself in half to build this business, I would be walking to the door to actually leave for the day, and either me or Emily or both of us would go, time to make the fucking donuts. So that's cool. I like that phrase. Grasshopper said, I'm the same way, Ray. I can't sleep in. Not my thing. My brain won't let me. Yeah, as soon as I'm conscious to the fact that I'm conscious, there ain't no going back to sleep for me. There are too many things I have to do. There are too many deadlines. I'm too far behind. I've committed myself to far too many projects. So literally the moment that I'm conscious of being conscious, that's it. My day has started. I go to the bathroom and shit, shower and shave and get up and start my hike. Well, I don't shave. I don't shave, as you can see, but I do shit and shower and brush my teeth. And I make my coffee and I make a thumbnail with AI, of course. All of my thumbnails for all of these are clearly AI generated. They're supposed to be. That's the funny part about it. But every day. Whew. Speaking of shitting, I hope I get home sooner rather than later. What is going on with these white trucks on this road? There's one way down there at the end. I don't know which way the camera's pointing, so hopefully it should be pointing away from me now. But there's one that passed me that's now way down at the end. I see an orange cone out, and he's blocking this road sideways. And now we got this guy coming back here. Don't know what they're doing. I'm gonna ask them though. Accurate Corrosion Control Inc. That was the name on the side of the truck. I didn't see the actual business name. I read the subtitle. Accurate Corrosion Control Inc. So ACC. Anybody want to Google ACC, Accurate Corrosion Control Inc.? Let me know what the hell they do. You know, these are metal, these posts here, posts, I swear. These telephone poles are giant metal ones that run all these high-line wires here. Maybe they're here to do some sort of corrosion control on those, or on the bolts and stuff at the bottom. Could be. By the way, I think we have about 40 people signed up for the Texas bunkhouse retreat. So that's really exciting too. The biggest one I've done so far was the Airbnb one in Tennessee. I can't remember exactly how many people were there now, but it was in the ballpark of 20. I think it was going to be max like 24, and a couple people didn't show up. But I think we were in the ballpark of 20. And that was actually quite difficult to cook for 20 people consistently day after day, which I don't think I even did a good job of, honestly. But to be fair, you know, I really do love hanging out with and getting to know y'all at these events. So I tend to stay up every night until about 4 o'clock in the morning. And then I'm too damn tired in the morning to get up in time. You know, I'm not waking up at 5 a.m. when I'm going to bed at 4, but I did get the food cooked, I guess. Just maybe not on as tight of a schedule as some would have liked. But yeah, we got 60. I'm gonna be asking a bunch of y'all, and I may just have to go buy some shit too, you never know, but I am gonna be asking a bunch of y'all to bring some pots and pans, especially if you have larger commercial grade type stuff, pots, pans, chafing dishes, stuff like that even, because we do have a commercial kitchen, but we don't have anything to cook on. So we've got a flat top, you know, I can cook on the 2 feet worth of flat top space that I think we have, if I remember correctly. And we've got the burners, but I need pots and pans and stuff. Even big, like restaurant, you know, half pans and full pans to put into the oven. So if any of y'all happen to be coming to that event and you're able to bring any of that stuff, that would be cool. I think the other thing I'm gonna look into is maybe some sort of really great tote. You know, like a high quality tote that can get sent through the mail multiple times and not destroyed. And I might have to just start buying, like go buy my own set of commercial stuff. Actually, do I? I probably don't need to buy most of it. I think I have most of it actually over at the Handyman headquarters. Maybe not everything, but most. Yeah. If I got the right tote, I could basically mail it to myself at my destination and then mail it back. The question is how much it's gonna cost. Like, is it gonna, if it's $100 each way, then I'm talking about an additional $200 expense, which is, you know, in the grand scheme of things, it is what it is. But then at $200, then I have to go, well, shit, should I just pay somebody to bring the stuff? And like, could I rent it maybe? Got to work through all that. But either way, if y'all are gonna be there and you can bring any commercial equipment like that, that would be cool. The SoCal Handyman said, hey, Ray, happy to catch you live. I'm glad you're in here, brother. Grasshopper said, gotta head out, Ray. Have a great day, man. You too, sir. Troy, what's going on, man? Good to see you here. Troy, are you gonna go to the Texas bunkhouse retreat over there northwest of Austin? I feel like, if I remember correctly, or Austin, I'm in Dallas, northwest of Dallas at Bonham State Park. I feel like you're from, I don't know if you said you're from Dallas, Fort Worth, but I felt like you were from that area. Right on, yes sir, that's the plan, good. I'll be looking forward to seeing you again too, sir. I think we got about 40 people signed up so far. Here's those trucks I was talking about. Actually, still, I don't know which way my camera's pointing. Like overall, because I got a black screen, because it seems like every time I leave YouTube, you know, it used to be I could get a phone call in the middle of a live stream or a text message that I need to do something with. It used to be I could leave a stream, come back, and it would reconnect me, and y'all would still be here, and I would be here, and everything would be the same. But lately it seems like what happens is I leave the stream and I come back and either like the video works but the chat's gone, or the chat works but the video's gone, but it never seems to work right when I pop back in. Oh, Troy, you're in Phoenix? That's crazy. Why did I think you were from Texas? Okay. All right, well now I know. I'll remember that. I'm glad you're going all the way to Texas then. And you're bringing your son. Right on. Right on, right on. Wife is from Dallas. Maybe you mentioned that and I got conflated. Constaflated. I am constantly constaflated. Troy said, what type of things happen there? Are there classes? Not classes, not most likely. There will probably / possibly be some times where I do get up and speak. We do have a big group hall, but generally speaking, the way that these things go is you guys end up mentoring each other. And I don't mean that in a lazy way. I just mean that in, you know, like the very first one of these I ever did was a tiny little camping trip. It wasn't too tiny, but Jobber sponsored it. It was tents and stuff and a campsite. And I did some mentoring, I suppose, but what I saw was that you guys, you know, I can only talk to one or a couple people at a time effectively. And whoever I wasn't talking to, those people were always amongst themselves talking, sharing business tips and tricks and challenges they had and what the solutions to those challenges were and how much they charge and how they think about free estimates or no free estimates, all kinds of stuff. You know, how to get jobs, how to find new jobs, how to get clients, how to raise your prices when you're already with clients who expect a lower price. And you know, I'm only one person, and everything I have to say is kind of already on YouTube, you know, or people have asked for it here in this chat. But I found at that camp out that y'all did a lot of mentoring each other, and you seem to have gotten more, I think, from each other than you got from me, honestly. You also found out at these campouts that you feel alone as a handyman because you don't have a boss, you don't have employees, you don't have coworkers, you don't have a supervisor. You're not like inside a community of handymen that you're learning from. So you don't know when you're coming upon all these challenges, you don't even know in that moment that these are normal, everyday, anticipated and expected challenges that do have solutions. You feel like you're doing it all on your own. And you come to these events and you find out that there's dozens of other people just like you. They had the same challenges, they had the same questions, they had the same fears. They went through all the same stuff. And y'all really do end up mentoring each other. And what I can tell you for sure is by the end of these events, everybody is going home just invigorated, refreshed, excited. Everyone's going home with like this list of things that they learned that they didn't know they were gonna learn. This list of just like, oh my God, as soon as I get home, I'm instituting these 6 different things that I learned about here from 6 different guys during the course of 6 different conversations that I think are gonna help my business. And that's really, I think, where the real value is. I can do some classes, you know, like I said, I might gather everybody and speak on a few topics, maybe, but don't think of it like some sort of structured convention. It's an opportunity for you to get to know all these other people. And you know, you don't have to be overly social. It's okay to just be the quiet guy who sits and listens. You're gonna learn just as much from sitting and listening. But then to the extent, you know, that you wanna chime in and give some of your advice, because you're gonna hear people ask questions that you found an answer to, you know, that they haven't. And you're gonna think of questions and you're gonna see somebody who you're gonna think, man, that guy probably knows what the answer to my question is. I need to go ask. Like, he's a door expert. He apparently has done doors his whole life. And I've got this door problem, you know, where every time I work on a door, I have this issue. And maybe he has the solution to that recurring issue. So that's really where the value is here. But like I said, what I will say is everyone goes home from these newly invigorated and motivated and like viewing their business like an opportunity rather than a responsibility. You know, the feeling is very positive. Edward said it may be a different Troy. I know the Troy from the Tennessee cabin stay was from Denton. Okay, for some reason I thought that Troy was I thought his last name was Rea, R-E-A. So my bad. I'm still excited for you to come, but yeah, I may be thinking that you're a different Troy then, because the Tennessee cabin stay, which Edward Pitkin was at there, the Tennessee cabin stay, Troy, I thought his name was his last name was R-E-A, so that's probably just because I'm an idiot, but yeah, that's what was going on there. Either way, I'm excited for you to come, and I'm excited to meet you. And if you're in Phoenix, then just by the way, if you ever do make it down to Tucson and you want to have lunch or something, just shoot me an email, and if I have the availability, which I can usually make it, if I have the availability, and if you can come over to my end of town so I don't have to drive 45 minutes, I'll definitely have lunch with you. Troy said everyone should bring their favorite tool or talk about a cool tool that is not that common. I like that idea. Apex said opportunity versus responsibility. I like it. It gets that way. You know, I had a food truck. God dang. Boy, I tell you what, you want to go through some suffering with me, get deep into how my food truck experience was. I built a food truck here in Tucson back when food trucks were not yet a huge fad. Don't get me wrong, they were a little bit of a fad. It's not like nobody had ever heard of them. I'm not claiming to have been a trailblazer. I'm only claiming to have spotted a pattern earlier than most and saw the opportunity to do something new and different and big and exciting earlier than most. So Tucson was full of like hot dog carts and burger carts and Sonoran dog carts and stuff. But as far as like fun food trucks, like the Food Network style stuff, there was two here. There was Jamie's Bitchin' Kitchen. Jamie was a female chef that owned that, like a professionally trained chef. There was Jamie's Bitchin' Kitchen and this Korean taco truck called Mafuko, M-A-F-O-O-C-O. It was Mexican-American food company, and it was a taco truck, Korean taco truck. But yeah, it was Mafuko's and Jamie's Bitchin' Kitchen. There's a couple others that were starting out at the same time too. I think Serial Grillers, which Serial Grillers went on to become a pizza chain, like a actual restaurant chain here in Tucson. But essentially there was very few of us, and I started my food truck, and man, it was exciting. Everybody wanted my shit. People were paying me like $500 just to bring my truck to an event, and then also allowing me to keep whatever I sold, because a lot of events want a percentage and stuff. So they were paying me to bring my truck and not asking me to pay them anything like percentage wise out of my sales. I could take my truck just about anywhere in Tucson and sell a lot of food, building a big fan base, 5 stars on Yelp. But boy, I tell you what, it got hard because food trucks became a fad, And the next year, man, we went from like nothing to every week somebody new was posting online in like the food truck Facebook pages for Tucson. Every week somebody new was posting a picture, you know, of like the wrap they designed on their computer that they're going to put on the truck, and they're going to get the truck next week from California. All of a sudden, everywhere I went, and this was the shitty thing, was what these guys would do was, you know, so I'd go develop a new lunch spot. Maybe I'd say, hey, this lunch spot isn't working out. I'm going to try to go to, like, for example, here in Tucson, there's a place called Williams Center. And it's just like a business industrial complex. Well, it's not so much industrial, it's like offices and stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to see if I can go develop Williams Center. And what that meant was you got to show up on like Wednesday at 10 a.m., open your window for lunch. You're not going to get a lot of people the first day, but the people that do come down, you know, you give them the VIP treatment. You make sure their food is exquisite. You keep a smile on your face. You make them very happy, and you give them a bunch of flyers and stuff. And you say, hey, take this back in the office building. Let everybody know I'm going to be here every Wednesday at 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. for lunch. Every Wednesday. Let everybody know I will be here. And then the next Wednesday, you show up again. And you do the same thing, and there's twice as many people, because they did go back and tell everybody. And then the next Wednesday, more people. Well, the problem is, if you're a food truck, you got to keep everything posted online where you're at. Otherwise, your people can't find you. And so what started happening was all these fucking new trucks that didn't know what they were doing, didn't know how to price their food, undercutting my prices significantly. Literally because they just don't know how to price their food. Your food, whether you're a restaurant, food truck, or whatever, doesn't matter. The amount you sell your food for, if it's less than 4 times the cost, then you're doing something wrong. If you spend $1 on ingredients, the food needs to cost $4. That's like a standard. You can get away with 3x, you know, like you can still be profitable at 3x maybe, depending on what your ingredients are and stuff. But it needs to be 4, if not 5x. And these people were just, they figured, you know, if I spend $1.50 to build this burger on ingredients, then I should be able to sell it for $3 and I've doubled my money. And yeah, sure, you doubled your money, but you're not paying your bills and you're not paying yourself when you're doing that. But they would follow me to the spots that I developed and just undercut my business. And man, by the end, it was not an opportunity anymore. It was just a struggle. By the end, I was afloat and I was paying my bills, but it went from this exciting thing I was doing, you know, where people just loved my food and were willing to pay for it and followed me all over Tucson, to all of a sudden, everybody would show up at my truck, look at my menu, their eyes would get big and sparkly, and they'd be, oh my God, look at that. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's got, what is that, Maduros? That's sweet plantains? Ooh, with cinnamon sugar and homemade whipped cream? Oh my God. They would get so excited at my menu. But you know what they would eat? Is that $5 burger. The $5 burger that comes with nachos and a soda. That's what they would ultimately purchase. And it got to the point where, you know, thank God, is the best decision I ever made, honestly, business-wise. I shut it down before it failed. I wasn't driven out of business, but I saw the writing on the wall. I saw that I wasn't going to be able to compete, which, you know, in hindsight, now based on what I've learned with this handyman business, in hindsight, I think I could have. I think I could have done just fine if I would have used the same principle I have now, which is there's always a customer for every price. And if you're providing a higher quality product or service, you can just charge more and stay in business. But I would have had to change literally everything about my business. I would have had to have exited the food truck scene. By scene, I mean, you know, where we're all parking in the same places together to pull in big crowds. I would have had to have left that scene, I think, and just developed my own little individual spot, like where I rent an empty lot somewhere in the city and I'm just always there in that one spot. I could have done that. Could have done catering. Probably could have done other things, but I did. I got out, I think, just in time, because as soon as I got out, man, I still followed all those Facebook pages, and there was a new truck every week. the events all started getting crowded. The prices all started plummeting because, you know, when you're a food truck, sometimes whatever you don't sell that day has to go in the trash. Like, you can't save it for the next event. And so people are literally at the end. I mean, it would be like 8 p.m., you know, and we're doing like a dinner rush on Fort Lowell and Campbell. And there's trucks beside me just screaming out the window, "Hey guys, everything's half price. The entire menu. We can't keep it after tonight. It's all half price." And I'm just sitting there like, how the fuck am I gonna sell food and feed my family when, you know, your price, first of all, is just 2x your ingredients cost. So now at half price, you're basically selling your food for the cost of the ingredients. You're not paying for your propane. You're not paying for anything. You're losing money, and you're causing me to lose money because you don't know how to run a business. So I got out at just the right time. But that did definitely turn from an opportunity to a responsibility. Became a very negative thing. Yeah, I know. You're the only one. Troy said, "Once you meet me, I am unforgettable." I like that attitude, sir. That's a great attitude. Once you meet me, I am unforgettable. You sound like Achilles, and that's why no one shall remember your name. You know what? I feel that though. I got that testosterone in my veins. You know, I'm not gonna go down in the history books like Elon Musk or anything, but I hope something is remembered about me for some period of time after I'm gone. I hope at the very least there's there's some handyman conventions that go on for another 25 years where people whisper in the corners, "I heard this was all started by some redneck from Texas. He wasn't even that good of a handyman. He just was the only guy who started the channel and actually told them how to start and run their business. And he was short and hairy." Short and hairy with a lot of Neanderthal DNA. It'd be cool if people remember something about me. As long as my family does, that's all I care. And that's partly what the ranch is. The ranch will be not a legacy like to show off and say, "Look what we have." But I'm hoping the ranch becomes like the anchor for my progeny. Like my kids, you know, whether they might move to Washington State, or they might move to Bolivia, or they might move to fucking China. You never know what happens in the future. But whatever happens with my kids and my grandkids and my great-grandkids, I hope there's a ranch down here in Arizona with a big old communal kitchen and a big old communal group hall and lots of spare separate cabins and bunkhouses and huge outdoor, you know, covered pavilion for them to have their weddings at and stuff. Maybe even a teeny tiny little church, like an actual itty bitty little church to go pray in. And I hope that like my legacy still shows up at that ranch, and I hope that that's like an anchor for the entire family to just always know, like, it'll be in a trust. It won't be owned by any particular kids. It'll be in a trust, and the trust will maintain it. Maybe the trust will rent it out for events and stuff, you know, just to pay the bills and make sure that the family doesn't have to pay for it. But that's the idea. And they can remember me through that. That'll be like my contribution to my lineage. Because I'll tell you what, my lineage starts with me. I'm not the first Duke. I've actually traced mine back all the way to England. Looks like we came over like around the late 1500s, early 1600s. There's a dude, man, I'm gonna write a fucking movie. Get this. So the first Duke that I come from, when you trace back all my male Duke heirs all the way to England, the first one that was born in America, you know what his name was? Britton Honor Duke. Brittin or AIN. The spellings were a little looser back then. But Britton Honor, Honor, Duke. Tell me that's not the most badass name you've ever heard. Britton Honor Duke. He fought in the Revolutionary War, I believe, and his father was like a captain or a major or a colonel in the British Army. So crazy shit. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Meat Steak said, went to give an estimate. Guy wanted an entire house of fixes on the estimate. I gave him 3 items, and of course, he wasted my time. 4,000 square foot house, 2 toilets that don't work equals red flag. I don't know that I fully understand what you're saying. I do agree. I don't want to give somebody an estimate for every damn thing that they want done to their house. That's usually window shopping, because they typically don't have the money in the bank right then to pull the trigger on everything. So they need to prioritize a handful of things. So you can give one estimate for one, couple days worth of work. And then if that works out, you can give them another estimate for more things. So I do agree with that. I'm not sure what you mean by 2 toilets that don't work in a 4,000 square foot house being a red flag. I would just consider that to be 2 toilets not working. I assume a 4,000 square foot house has to have at least 3 toilets in it. Maybe not though. I mean, I've got 3,000 square feet and I've only got 2 toilets. But I do agree that's a waste of time. I'm not giving people estimates for 37 different things in their house. I mean, I don't do homeowners anyways. It's one of the reasons I don't do homeowners, is just all of that kind of window shopping bullshit is usually what you can expect from a lot of homeowners. You have to get real good at vetting them, which you can do. It's a skill in and of itself that you got to develop. But for me, I found out with property managers, you do have to train your property managers. They don't vet themselves and they don't train themselves, but assuming you're willing to put in the time to get your property manager trained into your business, once you've got that done, you never have to vet another client for the rest of your business history, basically, unless you want to grow and add some more property managers. Meat Steak said the house was a mansion and he complained plumbers wanted to get paid for estimates. I don't do free estimates either. Yep. Yeah, if you got a 4,000 square foot mansion, you should be in a position to spend a little bit of money on it. Yeah, I mean, a new toilet though, my God, I charge $350 for a new toilet, and that includes the toilet. And yes, that's a little bit too cheap, by about 40 or 50 bucks too cheap for the cheapest toilet. But still, I do that to make it easy for my property managers to say yes, and it's worked out so far with that. But no, who's going to come to your house and give you an estimate for a $350 job? Because even the plumber still, my pricing is what many plumbers are using. They're probably closer to $400 instead of $350, including the toilet. But that's about the going rate, even for licensed professionals. Nobody's going to come to your house and take an hour out of their day, a billable $100 hour out of their day, to tell you, yeah, it's going to be $350 or $400. I can just tell you that on the phone, and you can say yes or no. Oh, I want you to see if maybe you can fix it. Maybe it's just a fill valve. Okay, well, if it's just a fill valve, it'll be $150 plus the cost of the fill valve. Like, pick or choose, you decide. All right. We have made it back home. Oh, here we go. Abdul said, hey, Bulletproof Handyman, love your videos. I know you work with property managers, but have you ever done work with construction contractors? No. I've heard a lot of horror stories, but then again, I've also heard a lot of horror stories about property managers. So I won't make any assumptions. I'll just say, nah, I haven't done any of that. But I have heard a lot of horror stories. So I'm home now. I love you guys. I hope you're out there killing it, and I'll see y'all on the next one.